Johnathan Kayne here with NStyle Country, and I am so excited today to interview country music legend Gary Morris. So, Gary, tell me a little bit about what's coming up for you. We're going to start with what the fans can see coming up.
More interviews.
Oh, today, of course, absolutely.
Well, I'm working on a couple of projects right now. First of all, I don't know when this will air, but I'm doing a Christmas tour, which basically goes primarily through Texas, and then hopefully by the end of the first quarter, I've got two projects that are recording projects. One is a solo project. It's called 1+1, and if that title sticks, and it's really me and a guitar plus one other person, either a singer or another instrument.
Wow.
And the second project is called Demos, and it is what it sounds like. I've done 1 million demos for my own company, and a lot of them I like better than the records that were made. Some of them didn't even make records, and so I've been going through culling and going, yeah, I really want to put that out. I want people to hear how that song was conceived as opposed to how the record ended up.
Sure.
And so those things will be in the first quarter of next year, and I'll be out primarily alone with the guitar playing, performing art centers and theaters.
Wow. What I know you have written so many songs. What inspires you as a songwriter and being in the industry for so long?
Yeah, it's a never-ending thing. I kind of jokingly tell this story about I was sitting on my front porch and I was wearing flip-flops. I looked down at my feet and I went, man, my toes need clipping. And about this time, a neighbor's dog passed, was all shaggy, and I said, and that dog needs dipping. And that became the opening line of a song called "Woe Is Me," and it just kind of happened. There's a saying, don't give a blues singer a Cadillac. So if you're kind of down in the dumps, or it creates a certain mood for it. Political stuff, I've had kind of a social consciousness song or a political song on every one of my records since the beginning of time, and so I'm always kind of involved in that, looking at what's going on politically and what's going on around the world.
So you have a lot of material now in the political climate that we're talking about now, right?
I have a song called "Silence Says It All," which I wrote nearly a year and a half ago, which really applies to what's going on right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know what, I have started noticing a trend that a lot of artists are making a political statement with some of their music and some of their songwriting, which I think is so important as a form of expression myself. I even do that with the fashion industry on my side of things as well. But, there's some of my favorite artists are starting to make a stand and make it, sometimes it's a very conservative stand, sometimes it's a very liberal stand. So it's a risk as an artist. Do you find that risky for you, or do you think that, you know what, this is my craft and this is what I do, I'm just gonna talk about it?
Yeah, I don't really worry about that. I never have. If I piss somebody off, the good thing is you would call me a liberal Democrat, and some of my friends are the most politically conservative Republicans on the planet, and it doesn't affect our friendship at all. We might get in each other's face every now and then, but at the end of it, it's like, that's really what makes America great, because you can't have that discussion. I've been all over the world. I've been in third world countries. I've played in Eastern Bloc countries, where I played in an Eastern Bloc country where they could do rock and roll, but they were not allowed to move. So they had to stand there and sing their songs. They were not allowed to emulate the West. I've seen all that around the world, and the fact that we can have some kind of political discourse and in theory still be united. And what's happened in this particular season is there's been such angst created that it is a great cause for concern for me, but it won't stop me from writing what I feel like writing. I remember, though, I'll share this with you. I remember going to see Chris Christopherson. He was playing a long time ago, and I was sitting in the audience, and I went, quit doing these political songs. And that was at the end of Vietnam, I guess it was. I'm not sure what it was, but I'm thinking, then at the same time, my songs are kind of about social consciousness, and they've got some political overtones.
Sure, absolutely. I think it's so important for that part of expression, you know what I mean? So a little bit lighter note, I know you are also an outdoors man. So I was doing a little bit of research and saw that you are an expert fly fisherman, is that correct?
I don't know that you ever get to be expert, but I've been doing it since I was 16, so
Yeah.
I've got at least 3 years at it.
And archery is a big thing for you. Believe it or not, don't look at the rhinestones or the leather jacket, but my dad and I grew up in the woods, and he taught me a lot of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I'm a longbow shooter, and I had a show that I produced and host for 5 years called the North American Sportsman, in which I pretty much took everything on the North American continent except grizzly bear and polar bear and muskox, but most everything else I took with a longbow, including pheasant and flying, which I get a lot of, I get some kudos every now and for, and turkey and some other things, but I shot them all with a longbow. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What's your favorite game to hunt?
Elk.
Oh.
Without question,
good ones.
because they're not dumb. It's a physical endeavor, and it's not. I grew up in Texas. I've lived in Tennessee a large part of my life. I've sat in tree stands and waited for them to come under to shoot them, and it's not that at all. It's on foot, spot, stalk, make a good stalk, call them in. Hunting elk is like calling in a 800-pound turkey for those who turkey hunt, who see them coming in all. That's what it's like hunting elk with a bow. So that's my favorite.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I know you were first made incredibly famous by your #1 hit song, "Wind Beneath My Wings." How many times would you say you've probably sang that song?
See, that was 1982, 92, 2002, 2012, 100, maybe 10,000.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's such a beautiful rendition. I was actually this past week was following you on Spotify and listening to some of your songs from the past and a little bit more current. And there was a song you did with a young lady that was, I think, released this year or in 2016. Was that part of some type of a charity tie? It was like a duet. Do you remember?
I don't know what the duet would have been.
Okay. Well, it was on Spotify. I was just checking that
I
one
need
out.
to check them out because I'm sure they owe me 3 cents.
Everything, probably.
Yeah.
Well, everything from, there was a song about Waffle House.
The Waffle House.
And then we have, it was pretty cool. So, and literally, that's what's pretty cool about your career is looking back. It's so fun to kind of look back at history and see your 5 #1 hits, your 16 top 10 on the country charts. It's pretty amazing. What would be your favorite part of your career so far?
Right now.
Awesome.
I'm having more fun playing right now than I ever had when I had records high on the charts, because there's so much pulling at you. I mean, you have people like Joey hounding you all day long, wanting you to do this and do that, and managers going, you have to do this and you have to say that and you need to be up here. And right now I go play, I'm playing a 500, 600, 800 seat performing arts center alone with the guitar. I do the opening number and then I say, who have I got out there? What do I want to do next? It's totally free. And the tickets aren't, but the show is. And so I get to really express myself, and so out of all the things, out of Les Mis on Broadway and La Boheme with Linda and all of those things, the most fun part of my professional life is right now.
That's awesome. So performing for every president since Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Kings, Queen of England.
Right.
Prime Ministers. Your favorite is what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I did.
Great.
I love playing for the Queen. She's a little bitty thing. She's about this tall, and that was a really. You're not supposed to touch the Queen. They give you this sheet. You ready to go? Okay, if she reaches out her hand, you may shake her hand. And there was a meeting line. It was at the LBJ Library in Austin, and I was the entertainment. It was a luncheon, one of those big high dollar, $10,000 table filled with lawyers and congressmen and stuff. And so I sang. I get through, and I'm going to give you my bad impression of the woman that came over. Went back to my table and I sat down and I had this tap on my shoulder. I looked up and it was like, "The Queen wishes to speak to you." I went, "What? What do you, the Queen, she wishes to speak to you." So I got up and they walked me over to her table and she got up, everybody stands up, and I'm standing there and she goes, "I just wanted to put a face close up with that beautiful voice." And I said, "Thank you." I reached around and I grabbed her. I said, "Now, I hear you're going to Kentucky next. And I got horses. Where are you going to be?" And she says, "I'm going to." We just had a little short conversation, and I said, "Well, maybe I hope to get to see you again." And she said, "That would be my pleasure." And so, and of course her handlers, everybody, their eyes got big, and they were all freaked out because I touched the Queen, and I'd simply forgot at that moment, but it was cool. And the kind of the fun part of that whole story was, after I'd gotten a call from Austin to go down there, 2 days later I got a call from Washington, from the White House, said, "The Queen is coming, can you come perform for her?" And I went, "Well, I would." And it was George Sr. And I said, "I love you guys, but I already promised I'd do it in Austin, so you probably ought to have somebody else sing at the White House." But so I've got to do a lot of really crazy, wild, weird, fun things. But right now, I'm looking forward to walking on the stage in New Braunfels at the Brontex. It's a 650-seat theater, and it'll be sold out, and doing Christmas music. That's kind of the things I look forward to.
Yeah, it's great to offer kind of like a little Christmas twist to your fans. You have such a beautiful voice and so strong and powerful and such a great range, which definitely pays homage to why you were featured in Les Mis and then La Boheme with Linda Ronstadt, is that right? So how long were you in that run with Linda?
Linda, that was a 3-month project, and we finished. I was telling the story earlier. I finished. The last night was December the 30th in New York. And December the 31st, I was back with my band playing in the Longhorn Saloon in Lufkin, Texas. So you talk about a culture shock, going from theater fur night, all these people dressed on the 30th, and then New Year's Eve back in Texas. So yeah. And Linda was great. She was great to work with. Just a quality human.
Yeah, class act, for sure.
Really, really.
Yeah. Well, we are so excited to be with you here today. I'm with NStyle Country, so tell me a little bit about your fashion choices. Do you have like a go-to outfit or piece in your wardrobe when you're going to perform?
Yeah, I do. North Face made I don't know what it's made out of, probably polyester.
That's all right. It's a great fabric.
Polyester sweat pant that has a stripe down the side that makes it look like a tuxedo pant.
Okay.
But it's a workout pant.
Okay. But comfortable.
I wear it.
Oh yeah.
I've had people ask me about it. Is that a military outfit you're wearing? I mean, I get a request and no, it's just something really important to me. But actually, that's it. And this coat,
it's a beautiful coat,
came from the 1980s.
You know what?
I just kept it.
It's classic, though. You know what? A coat like this, is it like a wool blend? It feels like maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so. But I probably never paid enough attention to style, because I was all over the map. I wore everything. I wore leather. I wore tank tops. I wore pretty much everything. And the only thing that I heard one time, I heard Rodney Crowell had said that he wished he had enough guts to be as stylish as I wasn't, or something like that.
Well, you know what? It's one of those things with fashion. It's really just, go what feels good, go what's comfortable. And you were such a heartthrob back in the 80s, being on Designing Women guest appearances, as well as lots of other TV shows, and singing. Didn't you sing the opening song for like Dallas?
Yes.
Another World.
Yep.
Lots of those big shows that I know a lot of our viewing audience would love as well.
I never had any women complain about my clothes or lack of clothes.
Well, there you go. Straight from Gary Morris himself. Well, listen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It has been such a pleasure. I appreciate your time today, and thank you so much for sharing what's coming up. We're so excited for you for your Christmas show and to get you back out there on stage.
Thank you, man.
So,
Appreciate
all right,
it.
take care.
Yeah.